In this video, we are going to continue to talk about digital sculpting in ZBrush, and we sculpted a lot of details of the face, and we added some hair, and we sculpted some eyebrows and other details directly on the initial mesh, or also we divided the mesh into different elements. We created some underwear and also some boots. So we will create more apparel and more clothing, and we are continuing to sculpt, but also we will use other techniques to simulate clothing and creases and surfaces that resemble cloth, not using just the sculpting tools, which is possible to simulate clothing, soft surfaces, just by using the sculpting brushes and the draw brushes, the draw sharp. But we can also use some simulation techniques and tools and effects. So we created some effects using sculpting again, and we also extracted some parts. When you extract part of the model, then you can use it to create additional parts like air, for example, that can be then turned on and off. You can remove them and place them really easily. This is why it's handy to create more parts. So you can see here we have different parts, and we need to move with the chisel icon there from one to the other. And you can see that if I turn off the other layers, I can isolate the air and I can work just on the air. You can see the level of detail is not so fine here. I don't want to go into too many details at the moment, so I don't want to increase the number of subdivision, but I'm just gonna like create the rough and draft effect of the air, and I'm not really sure that I want to use it in my character, so I just place it there and then we will see. We also sculpted the eyes. We created different effects using real life sculpture techniques like they did with Roman sculptures and Greek sculptures in the past. They sculpted all the details directly on one single block, on one single element. Here instead we are starting to divide the character into pieces, but then we can merge them together again later if we want, or we can just delete them. So we can see here that these are actually separated objects, and we can also start to assign some material if we want. And this is, basics of Blender. So if you're interested in the basics of Blender, you can see the Blender video course. So I'm just using the light here and some materials. Using different materials, different lighting, this different lights is gonna help you to figure out what's good and what's not. So to detect issues and things that are not really good. Now let's get to the face sets again. So you can see if I paint on the original mesh, the base mesh, I can create face sets, which means I can create different areas and then I can use them for various reasons. I can use them, one way to use them is to create apparel. And this is the technique we're gonna explore on this video here, and then we're gonna see more in other videos. But and the other way is just to go and sculpt and create everything directly on the original mesh. Now, if we want to start to add some more details, we can use the Dyn Topo feature with the relative detailing or detailing or subdivision on, or we can do constant and the side. Now, in this case, the closer we get, the more detail we will have. If you use detailing, relative detailing, with the constant detailing instead, it doesn't matter how much you are zoomed in, it's gonna always be the same subdivision. So you can see, first of all, I can add some more faces or subdivisions using the clay or using simplify brush as well. And then I can sculpt using the draw sharp or the draw or the crease, so that I can be like a little bit more specific here with these eyebrows. So the more detail you want, the more you're going to increase the level of detail. And since you need to do hairs, facial hairs or eyebrows, you need some really fine detailing. So you can either do this or you can create actual hairs, and we're gonna see how to do that later. But right now we are still like in digital sculpting phase. Later on, we're going to talk about also painting, which is an excellent way you can simulate hair and other details of the face and of the skin. So right now we're just continuing here to sculpt and add details like that. There you go. And you can also see that these are always the same brushes all over again. So we use the draw, we use the draw sharp, we use the clay, and then we can use the level, we can use the crease or dam brushes. So always the same brushes, but really small size, smaller and smaller and smaller, and really fine strokes here to create this simulation of facial hair. And again, it's just like they did in the medieval times or ancient Greece, ancient Rome. So they sculpted directly on the on one single element, or everything they need, also the eyes there, as we did in the previous video. And I also added some scars and some more wrinkles around, as you can see, to make it more realistic. I want to now turn off the air. I don't need it right now. And let's just go to the boots. Let's focus a little bit more on the boots. And again, we're using the same brushes, but this time we don't simulate wrinkles or eyebrows. We simulate creases and clothing. So usually cloth has these movements. So it's about how the cloth has been pulled and how it has been pushed and dragged around. So you can see here probably we have some um, like a lower part of the boots, and then we probably have some seams here, so the, the cloth gets stronger in there, and the bottom part probably will be more flat and hard. And so we can continue to use the DOM right now. I'm continuing to use the DOM. If I need more resolution, again, it's just a matter of how many polygons I have, so I need to increase them. Right now, I don't want to increase them. I just want to work with the low poly fashion, and then I will increase it later, because working with low poly is faster and easier, and we don't have like lags, and everything is fluid and nice. So I just want to switch to higher resolution when I'm ready, not before the time. And I've been telling this since the beginning of the course. Just go little by little, increase the resolution little by little, don't go too fast. And you can see now I'm smoothing out these different areas with a smooth brush. And let's now move. Also, move is a great grab or move. It's a great brush when you want to adjust. And if you use clothing and like you simulate gravity, you start to pull things down, they're gonna look like they're actually affected by gravity. So you need to keep some forces in mind. The first one is gravity. The other is the force of the object that's beneath the clothing. So like bones, muscles, all those things will pull and push your clothes. Now, what I'm doing here, again, with the move is I'm just exiting the symmetrical character. So I'm getting into something more asymmetrical, not symmetrical, because symmetry is not pretty realistic. It's better if you do something that is not symmetrical in the end. So when you start to define all these little details and you start to go into the refine of your character and the body and the face and the clothing and the apparel and all the rest, well, try to go now asymmetrical.